Does Trey Lance need to throw with more touch, in your opinion?
Yeah, and that's something that you asked. You asked a great question yesterday to Coach Shanahan
Thank
about
you.
this, because that's something that I know your dad mentioned it, and it's something that I've seen. It showed up really, on Sunday with that interception for Sanu.
Hmm.
That ball being out in front of him. He just throws with so much velocity that if the ball's not right on the guy, it makes it really hard to be able to catch it with their hands, especially if they have to reach out and extend or that kind of thing. Uh, he's got to really be fine with it in order for them to be able to hang on. That ball's just coming at him so hard, especially in that distance on like that's a new one where he's only 12 yards, 14 yards away from him, right over the middle, and that thing's out here.
Yeah.
That's a really it's a lot tougher catch than it should have to be.
Yeah. I mean, it's very Kaepernick-esque in a sense. When I look at guys like let's Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, even Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, they all are guys who have very strong arms but can take velocity off easily. It's not even something that they seem to think about. That's a major part of their skill set, and I think it's one of the things that Shanahan mentioned about Stafford. Great arm, but he can take some off and he has touch. Haven't seen it consistently from Lance, and that's maybe one of the reasons that he didn't get picked as high as Wilson.
Yeah, and he did do it on Sunday night when he did that little bootleg out to his left and on the throw to
Love
James when he
that.
was, that was probably one of his better balls of the one of his two or three best throws of the game because he just kind of gets out there and you can see that ball wasn't zipped into him, and it made a
Perfect.
nice easy grab. I think when you go back and you watch like the play to Sanu, for example, and we saw the same thing the week before to Richie James, both throws over the middle. Watch his hands because his hands start to separate. He has this. You talked about it in one of your videos where he's patting the ball, right? And
Yes.
so he has a tendency to separate his hands, and it's a little hitch motion. And so
Yeah.
because he's looking at Sanu, he's ready to throw the ball early, and so that's why
Yeah.
his hands come apart. Where if he just sits just a tick longer and then just releases and throws,
Yeah.
he doesn't have to throw the ball nearly as hard as he did. I think he's overthrew that ball because he was late on the throw because it didn't come out when it needed to, and then he overthrows it and it's high and away, and unfortunately Sanu gets his hand on it.
I think it's fair to say that this could be the transition to the speed of the game. They talk about like, well, it's going to be a big difference. He's going from one AA football, hasn't played in a year. I think he's sort of realizing what speed and tempo he needs to play at, and he's rushing it a little bit, or he's a little late. And he needs to overcompensate. This is all kind of stuff that he should be able to fix with experience. He seems like the kind of guy. Now, a good quarterback coach could always help. I'm just saying, it seems like they have a good one in Buffalo with Ken Dorsey. Shout out the Bay Area kid. I don't know about Rich Gangarello. I'm not saying he's not a good one, but I'm just not. I don't know. But anyway, that's a separate issue. I think Trey Lance should be able to improve here.
Yeah, I think he can. I think part of it too is that it's settling into the flow of the game too. He hasn't played a lot, so he's getting into these games and he has a lot of adrenaline going through his body when he first gets onto the field, which is natural for him to maybe be overthrowing the ball a little bit early on because he might not be trying to throw the ball hard, but just because he's got all that adrenaline going through him, he's a little bit stronger than he realizes. So that ball's coming out a little bit hotter than he wants.
Right. Now, I like to compare Lance to Carson Wentz because they went to the same school, and they were both very. I mean, Wentz was a number two pick. Lance was a number three pick. When Wentz came out, the reason he went number two and not number one, a lot of people criticized him from the pocket, and they said Goff is the one who's more accurate, better footwork. Wentz is a mess, and film people, analytics people did not like Wentz. They would look at him and nitpick him very much, and then all of a sudden, what was clear his first two seasons before he got injured was he's good enough in the pocket, and he's a freaking playmaker outside the pocket. I think that's gonna be Lance too. And what's I like so much about Lance is, in addition to the outside the pocket stuff, the zone read is gonna be killer. And I don't think you really could do that very much with Carson Wentz. It's gonna be killer. As good as not as good as Jackson, but in a top tier of, I would imagine, Lance, Fields, Murray, Jackson on that zone read.
Yeah, I think when the 49ers start actually running that stuff on a regular
Yeah,
basis, it's gonna open it up. You kind of saw it a little bit early on Saturday night when he first got in, where they ran a couple of them. It seemed like they ran the ball a lot better anyway, regardless of that portion of it. They
yeah,
just seemed to be getting a much better push from the offensive line, but that could have been part of it too because he's in there and he's running, even though he's not actually pulling it out. I don't know. I wasn't there during the joint practices. I'm not sure if he had pulled any out while you were there, if they ran any of those. zone reads and things like that during practice, where the Chargers defense might
They
have been.
did a couple, and they had like they didn't have much success with it. And I remember George Kittle complained about it after practice. It was different, you know. He's really complained about this whole transition to the Trey Lance offense, which I think is just chef's kiss. It's like thank you for the content. Yeah. So, but the most successsul run they had in Costa Mesa was that quarterback draw. You saw that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did
That's
see
also
that.
a good play. Good option for 3rd and 15 for him.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. That was a good discussion on Lance. Let's have let's answer a few questions. Thomas says Jimmy wants that Robbie Gould life. He seems relieved to be off the hook from getting smashed again. Oh, that's an interesting way to look at it. Smiling all the time because $25 million with no risk. The Jimmy Garoppolo psychology is very interesting to me, and that's an interesting take. We'll never know, but that's an interesting take. Maybe there's something to that. I like the Robbie Gould life. When I fully understood what Robbie Gould exists, what he experiences on a day-to-day life, I was so impressed. I was like, wow, what a life this man has created for himself because of his right foot. Got to give him respect.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, just watch these guys at practice compared to a quarterback or anybody else on the field, and watch what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah, great. He's like basically a golfer with his foot. You know what I'm saying? I play a contact sport, but really just have a pendulum attached to my hip, and I can do this for a long time. And it's made me a lot of money because Americans love football. I didn't make the rules, but I won. So congratulations to Robbie. But you got to hit the extra points. No one's feeling that. The new missed the extra points. That's not cool.
No, he's missed 2 of them now, right?
Yeah, stop. You should get that out of your system right now. Good question. All right. Scotty P says Jimmy comes from New England, plays 4 good games, looks awesome. Then 2 to 3 years of SF, he gets worse. I feel it's probably due to the Niners QB coach. As you agree? Well, he can't. I mean, I feel like Scangarello got that job as an offensive coordinator in Denver, and the main feather in his cap was Jimmy. He got Jimmy up to speed in 5 weeks. Look what he did with Jimmy. And then it was like, maybe he wasn't ready. And then he got fired. And I'm just saying, they can't exactly put him in their resume. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, no, you're right in terms of what Scangarello did. He got him up to speed. They had a really good 2017. Then he looked good with what Nick Mullins was able to kind of accomplish in 2018. And then he goes off on his own and fails, and then he comes back and he's right back in the same position. Yeah. So it's hard to say that some of Garoppolo could have been fallen off in 19 and 20 because Scangarello wasn't here.
Yeah,
too. Who knows?
Possible. I mean, that's possible.
Some guys are good position coaches, but not good when you put them in authority positions.
I will say Scangarello was in Philly last year, and their quarterback situation wasn't great, but he was not the quarterback coach. He was some kind of assistant. I'm just saying, look at some of their other position coaches. Like, first of all, Costa Rica is a superstar. Turner, superstar. Embry, superstar. And then you got Wes Welker, who is young, but has a lot of gravitas. Freaking Wes Welker played the position. And then you got not just Scangarello, but Day. I mean, these are guys who really didn't play the position. Maybe they played it in high school, maybe not. I'd be interesting, someone like Jeff Garcia. I've been saying it to you for 10 years. But, the one in Buffalo, Ken Dorsey, not surprised. Those backups who weren't really quite fringe backup starters, they really tend to understand. I bet you Nick Mullins would be a hell of a quarterback coach in 20 years after he's finished with his. Anyway, that's what I would do. I'm surprised that Kyle can't get better than that. So his dad had Kubiak, right?
Yeah, he did. Yes.
That's a hell of a coach. Come on, there's no one else. I don't know. Hell of a coach. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. 7NP says at the 318 mark of your video on the phone interview with Shanahan, he says, I'm trying to get him ready for when asked about, then stops mid-sentence. I think he gave it away on who's starting. If he had just not stopped and said something, I feel like he could have played it off. But the fact that he stopped himself confirms that he felt he was going to say something he shouldn't. We don't know what that is. We'll never know. But he felt he almost went too far. That is clear. Is it not?
Yeah. No, and it's funny because you on the audio it says I'm trying to get him ready for, and it stops. On the transcript it actually says that he's trying to get him ready for the season. So it's funny how it kind of gets filled in.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I guess he could play it off like, well, I already told you he was gonna. That's why I said he should have just kept talking. He already said he was gonna play this year, but the fact that he stopped, he's like, I can't say that.
Yes.
I love you, Kyle. You're so transparent. I love it. It's like the guy at the poker table who's like, oh God, I can't hate to see it. Killer Cam says, is the competition close when you take in Jimmy's contract? Trey needs to start, no need to wait. Jimmy's contract needs to get dumped. What moves could we make with that money? We're going to talk about, that's our next topic. Bear
Yeah.
with us, was one more question. That's our next topic. So we're going to get to that. Did you notice Jimmy Garoppolo did the same pump fake as Trey? Is this something being taught? I don't know. That's a good question. I'd like to
I don't.
get the quarterback coach on the stand and just grill him.